straight to semis. Depending on whether you want more games or less, that's a good or bad thing. You might want to get as much bang for your buck and just play all the games, or you might want the quickest, most economic route through to the grand finale, which takes place on the 28th. Sadly, we won't be joined by Her Majesty the Queen, and it's always a little bit daunting to have a look at all these empty stands. But here we are, one of the great contests of this year. Facundo out to Gonzalito, already knocked away by Diego Kavanagh, who looks over his shoulder. Perotto's waiting there in case a loose ball pops out. He doesn't get that loose ball. Facundo just tucks it in between father and son, Adolfo and Perotto, then makes his way across the field sideways out to Gonzalo. Gonzalo takes a shot under the neck. All of them ride over it. Here comes Andre. Andre makes a shot at it, but Adolfo on this grey, on this lovely grey that he played in the last one. It's called Duet. It was one of Pelon's that won the best playing pony in the Gold Cup. Slams the ball up to the front and over the back line. So, as I mentioned, AC Adolfo Cambiasso riding Duet and his son riding Solita. So we've got one of the famous Lapa clones that will be pulled out towards the end of this game in chukker number 6. This is Gonzalito Pierres now. What's the option for him? Facundo sprinting out towards the side, catches it, settles it a little bit with the palm of his hand on the near side. Waits for Perotto, puts his head down as a big shot comes over everyone's head and drops like a UPS parcel right there for Jean-Francois. But here's Adolfo coming back to try and keep it away from Will Harper. Will Harper, who's been making a very mature performance in both of these tournaments so far, showing every little bit of composure that his father has. This is Adolfo Cambiasso just taking his time, waiting to really put on a little spurt of acceleration, tries to lift it over Gonzalo's stick. Gonzalo gets underneath it, but then Facundo ends up hitting it into some metal. Harper leans down, tries to hit it, only catches the cane. So a nice open delivery, goes in behind Facundo. Facundo has the slip back, but Perotto's managed to get the better of him. Comes in, gets the ride off, and then leans over, swivels for the play on the other side. And the first foul of the game is committed unawares by the great Cambiasso over Park Place. Facundo just dribbles his way around Perotto, and here's Gonzalo looking to finish off with the direct hit to goal. It's got good aim so far, but just looked like it drifted over the back line, ushered over by Diego Kavanagh, who keeps it on, doesn't let it go over, just brings it back, gives it to AC, over to Perotto. Perotto now's got to contend with two Pierres, one either side of him, one in front of him, one behind him. Facundo catches up with him. Gonzalo sweeps it away to the left on his near side. In comes Perotto, tries to slam down the middle of the bamboo of Gonzalo's stick. In comes a nice little entry point by Cambiasso, but it's met by the blue shirt of Facundo. Facundo now drives it forward up to Diego Kavanagh. Kavanagh spins around on the spot and has intercepted. I think that the blue players hadn't cleared. Cambiasso. Ball taken off him by Facundo, who Rides with ease, comes in, takes it, keeps it. Now just stretching ahead of both Adolfo. And each of these players always find themselves between family members of the other team. Facundo somehow comes away with it seamlessly without even pausing. Moves out of that particular play. Decaux taps it away from Facundo. Nicely done by him. Not quite picked up by Perotto. And here's Adolfo. Adolfo turns around, but he's got the pressure from Harper. So he feigns the big hit, but then comes up with a slightly more timid one. And he moves over from this angle, moved over to the left. The foul, I think, is probably given against Will Harper. He moved over, drew him over, and then went back to claim his line. As he... So we go for some early changes. These umpires, this set of 4 umpires that have done all the games, the one not on this list is also Tim Bowen, that rotate around refereeing and actually umpiring. So Jean-Francois just having a little word with the umpire. There's been a brief pause. The score 1-0 with that handicap advantage to Next Generation, who started as they've got the 23 goals from Perotto's handicap, mid-season handicap raise. And no score yet on the board. As I said, the two Titans really fighting each other out. This is Gonzalito. Goes for the long ball like he did halfway into this chucker. He goes for another one, but this one overreaches again to the right. Adolfo Cambiasso bringing it in from the back line over to Kavanagh. Kavanagh gently brings it in with a little half swing, and then just before the halfway line pumps it up to the front, hoping Perotto can get past Gonzalito. Gonzalito delivers a perpendicular backhander right that's met by Borodin as well. Borodin with a hit to Facundo. Facundo made it laterally and himself committed a foul there. You can see that Kavanagh had come down what was the original pass, and Facundo intercepted it and then followed it across. So in the first penalty of the game, we have Diego Kavanagh for Next Generation, looking to try and equalise at least before the end of the chukker, if not do a little bit more damage before then. I think in the previous games they've taken it by turns. Diego has done most of the penalty taking. There's no rhyme or reason to who takes what at what distance. Kavanagh scores an easy goal, little one, low level under the radar, and does the job. So the hit in, or the drop ball, should I say, from the 60-yard line of the defenders is now back in the hands of Park Place. On the back, Facundo will take that. Here's Facundo now racing against Perotto, and decides just to leave it for the sake of safety to Gonzalito, and then tucks himself in behind him. Gonzalito always so good with the acceleration. Makes his way to the right of Perotto. Still with possession. Gonzalito's out in front now. He's got to look to get past that last line of defence. Well, that's Cambiasso, and he's managed to pick it up. Adolfo. Adolfo gets the call from up the front, which is Jean-Francois, who's got some incredibly fast horses, it has to be said. And then Facundo now going for the same tactics as his brother. Gonzalito prudently leaves that one as Perotto comes in, leaves it for Adolfo. Adolfo and Facundo, the two great men themselves, battling it out in that far corner. Adolfo comes out of it, accelerating, and then curls back into the middle. Now with a little bit of time to look up and try and deliver. He tries to run past Gonzalito this time, but doesn't make it, so it ends up back with Kavanagh. But instead, they're slotted into a nice 1-2 manoeuvre, and Cambiasso found himself out in front for a second. But great defending from Park Place sees Facundo go back and come across with the ball at the back. Going up to challenging, reaching right out. Here's Adolfo. Gets the ball off Facundo, but the ball is with Next Gen with the young Perotto. The youngsters out, being pressured out towards the outside by Gonzalito in these dying moments of this first chukker. Facundo hits it all the way up, and it's neatly tucked under Adolfo's neck to safety. But time is out for this first chukker. And this hit from the back will be taken by Adolfo, who's now riding Libanesa. And there's a strange whinny that could be one of Park Place's stallions. I don't think I've heard a whinny in a polo game, certainly not at this level before. Gonzalito Pierres with perfect connection there on the near side, picks it up, flicks it up into the air, touches it forward, the ball bounces again and he gets it once more, but then has to go to the right of Cambiasso. Cambiasso goes for a straight up backhand into Gonzalito. Gonzalito concedes that foul for running straight into Adolfo's backhand. Gonzalito riding Open Tulipan, very well-known name in the winter season. Cambiasso under the neck, intercepted by this Tulipan is unreal for Gonzalito right now as he wheels around. Is he going to be able to put it through? It's taken once again right in front of him by Cambiasso, and the whistle goes. So that'll bring them a little bit closer to that goal. But the way he's just managing to just snatch these intercepts is absolutely unreal. He changed this line, and then Cambiasso came down in front of him. So Facundo gets the penalty too. Nice easy, puts the second one on the board for Park Place. And the defenders are now Next Gen. One goal down, but they're bringing it from the back. They've already found their way right up into the Park Place 60-yard area. Borodin goes back to get it. Kavanagh comes in, another whistle. A little bit stilted at this juncture. Facundo going on a long run. Perotto trying to keep up with him. Facundo riding on Twitter, the famous Twitter. And back at the curls inside to avoid Perotto. Another whistle. This will go up to penalty 4 in favour of them. Park Place. And I think that he'll take this on the Twitter. The Twitter was owned by Glenn Gilmore and won a whole collection of best playing ponies last year in the Queen's Cup and the Gold Cup. Plonks it nicely through. No mistakes there from Facundo. That puts Park Place up by 2 goals over Next Generation. Next Generation from the back again. And in case you didn't know, this is Adolfo's MO. Of none of the games, and he's won them all so far, has he started in the lead. Of course, Chocomoto is slightly different because they had a 5-goal handicap lead, but Segavas started putting away the first goals against him, and Monterosso did too, and they are the kings of comeback. Too early to say which way these are going now. It's the 2 number 3s. It's Gonzalito comes in against Diego. Plenty of elbow in there. This is Decaux. Facundo steals it from him. In comes Cambiasso to try and take it away from Facundo, who takes it back in order to then put a backhander into the path of Perotto. This is then met by Harper. Harper gets to it next. Harper puts it out to the side and Facundo follows up. Puts a stick down. 1, 2, 3, just waiting to get it in the air. Diego says he's not having any of that nonsense. Comes in, sweeps him to one side, tries to take the ball off him. Facundo tries to come down, but Diego's still there with the ball. And things start to get just a little bit messy after that initially clean meeting by the 2. You can see we caught it right at the end here. Facundo just in front, and the next one onto it is Adolfo, but I guess that perhaps he turned around in front of but it's Facundo that gets the foul blown against him, so it's given back to Adolfo Cambiasso. He puts it into the middle, where Diego Kavanagh seems to have plenty of space. He's looking up to see what the options are. Cambiasso comes back to take over the show, and whilst Kavanagh goes and blocks Gonzalito, Facundo comes down and neutralises Cambiasso, whilst Will Harper is able to put an open shot on the near side over to the other side, but that's snatched away by young Perotto. Perotto, who's now riding Pintita. Perotto heading into the centre of the field, and now comes a steep neck shot. Look at that. Absolute perfect execution from young Perotto, and the first. No. The goal judge waved the flag like it was through, and it looked through from this angle. But then I guess let's see this, if it's any clearer from this angle, but it seems that it didn't go through in the end. I think it's going to go too high for us to be able to see, but apparently, you see the goal judge waves a flag there, but then I think one of the umpires must have been placed slightly better to see it. So Park Place still 2 goals up, and Adolfo Cambiasso claiming his line, comes down. Harper gets it away from Cambiasso, slots it over to the left to keep it away from him. Just steals ahead of Cambiasso. Will Harper here, very impressive on the young Asuka, riding on Asuka. Tell you a little bit about that one in a minute. But he has it snatched off him by Cambiasso. Cambiasso now keeping ahead of Facundo Perez. One slip and it's his. Kavanagh has to take it as it's rescued from behind him. Perotto isn't quite able to get... Yes, that's Facundo. Sorry, that's Adolfo. Adolfo puts it up. Here's Gonzalito. Waves it behind him in a tail shot, but it doesn't go long enough. So Kavanagh gets it. Kavanagh feigns the full shot, but in fact it's Perotto that's able to stop full swing. A quick spurt of acceleration nearly loses him the ball to Facundo. So now it's Gonzalito's turn to try and get it off Perotto. Harper there. Harper very useful in his position. Facundo just trying to get it away from Kavanagh. Look at the two of them. Facundo just buried in Kavanagh's rib cage there. Adolfo taking his time, comes in behind Gonzalito. Gonzalito has to clear, hits it away anyway. And over to Facundo, which leaves Facundo out in front, wide open. Look, if Decoe's not mounted well enough, then who is? Because he's got some serious horsepower underneath him. But Facundo's on his way now, and there doesn't seem to be anything between him and the goal except some very bright light down at horizontal level. He takes the shot anyway, but it ends up drifting over to the right where Diego Kavanagh meets it. And now Kavanagh and a Cambiasso combo see red as Gonzalito comes in, tries to get it off them. Kavanagh delivers it under the neck. Next one there is Cambiasso. That was a nice 1-2 maneuver from him. Perotto would have picked it up if it hadn't been slapped away by Gonzalito. And here's Hine. He stops. He tries to let Kavanagh pass him, but Kavanagh, with unbelievable athleticism, leans out and manages to just get a splinter off his stick to that one. Here's Perotto. Flick of the wrist puts it out of play and I think gives it back to Park Place. Gonzalito. The ball's bouncing. It's not an easy run, but Gonzalito, full speed. He's got Decoe between him and the ball. Kavanagh's caught up with him. Decoe does seem to get a stick to it, so I think that puts it on course for Cambiasso. Cambiasso, who niftily turns inside of Harper and then aims the ball out towards the right where Perotto's going to try and get past Facundo, but Facundo barges through him. That's pretty much the only thing between young Perotto and 10 goals is his size at this point, at this point in the game. And then Facundo wins a foul as he comes through over the great Cambiasso, and they go back for their mid-chucker change. So we'll see this second half of the first chucker start with a 60 for Facundo Pires. So, truth be told, lucky to get away with just a 60. That was a pretty perpendicular, both different speed and different line there on the cross. But Facundo's pretty good with these penalties anyway. He's put it through. It's the fourth goal for them. Although that at this point, the 3-goal advantage now going into the third will be encouraging. But it's certainly not what you call a comfortable lead when you're playing this caliber of team. It's a proper polo game. They're really seeing every single polo player put every inch into every play. And that's really great to see. Gonzalito catches it on the bounce. This is met by Adolfo. Facundo rushing back in case Adolfo tries to run it himself. Diego coming down that line, reaching across and hitting it away underneath Kavanagh was Harper. He did well to get that backhand, but he ended up coming across the right of way of Kavanagh on the grey. See there? Kavanagh had slotted onto that one nice and quickly. So we're going to penalty what looks to be like a penalty 3, 40-yarder for Next Gen. I think that's Appleby that's just got down to, not sure what he was doing there, but he's back up. Kavanagh converts it nicely, makes it 4-2 just at the end of Chukka number 2. So we'll have a quick recap on those 2 goals that would score on those. His son's going to be riding Gomera, who he started off in the last game. He used for Chukka number 1, but decided to shunt that up to 3. Who knows what the thinking is on that. This is Facundo, who puts it over to his brother Gonzalito, who draws down nicely but then leaves it for Facundo, who's managed to catch up. Facundo goes past while Gonzalito takes care of Kavanagh. Kavanagh, who is the mauler in chief and the person you need to avoid at this stage of your attack. Things get harder like any computer game. The further along you get, the harder the challenge. Once you pass Kavanagh, then you've got to contend with one of the Cambiasos. And unbelievable to think that the young lad has gone up by 2 handicaps and then there's still something left. You could argue that sometimes he plays at 6. This is the young man here playing it in the air. He's got a little red tape underneath his shoes like a pair of Louboutins. This is Facundo. Facundo stops, lets Adolfo pass round to the outside on the Dark Bay flow, and Facundo then moves it. And neither Facundo nor Adolfo can get that. This is Gonzalito. Gonzalito's in behind. I can tell you that Facundo on this one is riding Open Mediterranean. Diego Kavanagh stops, lets Will Harper flurry past him, and then tries to follow on that line. There's a little bit of a clash there with Facundo, so I'm not sure what happens after that. Just a penalty from the spot to Next Generation, La Bamba Next Generation. I mentioned briefly that Jean-Francois has the most beautiful hotel, traditional Argentine, rural Argentine style, with all sorts of gaucho memorabilia and architecture, etc., called La Bamba de Areco. Lovely luxury place to stay in Argentina. This is Kavanagh now. Kavanagh at the helm of this attack. Next through comes Perotto, ball in the air, no problem. He'll play it 2D, 3D, whichever way it presents itself. In front of goal, young Perotto Cambiaso riding. Gomera puts it through with ease. It's just like oiled lightning as he comes through. Look at the players that he passes on his way in. He's developed his completely his own style. Whilst he looks like Cambiaso in many, many ways, he's also a very different player. And it would take some real veterans of the game to tell you what Adolfo was like at that same age. 14 years old. Adolfo didn't win the Gold Cup until he was much older. Turning it now, grabbing it from behind. This is a young Cambiaso again. Perotto Cambiaso against Facundo. Something has ignited inside of him. Facundo trying to chase him down. Jean-Francois takes it. The ball bounces out of reach for him. There goes Will Harper. Will Harper trying to play it back to his teammates on top of it. Gonzalito trying to call his right of way, but Diego decides to bustle through anyway, and then Adolfo after him. Played away by Gonzalito, met by Perotto. Perotto takes a bounce in, and then another, just a quick detour around Facundo, and then back into the middle of the goal mouth, finds Gonzalito and Borodin in front of him, and possibly brings the whistle with him. So a 30-yarder, 2 to try and make it even. To be taken by Adolfo. Oh, I think it's changed. Off flow now. No, it's Kavanagh that takes it. And it's a lovely penalty. I think the third one that he's made. And that's 4 apiece. So we're even. We're finally even, the first time since that first chucker. Here's Facundo. Leaves it for Gonzalito. Gonzalito over to the left for Facundo. Facundo's fine himself, plenty of real estate, but Diego is making an incursion there. Facundo manages to keep ahead of him and spin the ball round, keeping it on the end of his stick. Turns it beautifully. Lovely handle that he's got there. Adolfo goes to try and take the backhand. Will Harper comes in, puts him off his stroke, and the ball is carried over the back line. So he kept it away from Harper, but he didn't get the play that he wanted, but at least he's got possession anyway from the back line now. 4 apiece. Adolfo Cambiasso looks up. What are the options for him? This is always a favourite. Right up to his son, who's miles out in front. He's got Will Harper now, who's just managed to get the ground between him and the goal. So Perotto's going to have to make up that ground. Here comes Gonzalito. Steals it from him. Just makes the best of a bounce. And then covers it as he takes it out towards the side, using the boards for relative shielding away from Kavanagh. The ball looks like it just bounced out of play, which will give it back to the white team next gen. And at the back, playing it calmly, assessing the options. Adolfo hits it up in towards the goal. I think it's fairly off target, so it gives Gonzalito a chance to recuperate it over there. There's a very low August sun making a silhouette of everybody, but you can make out Gonzalito that flings his stick in the air, claiming that he's been wronged here by Adolfo Senior, who comes in, makes a play for himself. He's actually been covered at the back by Perotto. And now it's Facundo now who keeps it out in front of Kavanagh. Kavanagh waits for the slip. Sorry, Cambiasso waits for the slip up. He's been shadowed by Gonzalito, who's not going to let him easily pass to goal. Just decides to take the shot from there. Is it good? Is it straight? And it is. It went straight through the posts. Let's have a look at that from the other angle here. You can see Gonzalito just waiting there, so he has to clear slightly. Just that one step was enough for Adolfo to drive it through. The power that it took, the reverberation back into his shoulders after he'd taken that one. And the glance at Gonzalito after he'd done it. Gonzalito himself riding Well, no, he started this chukker on Collarette. I'm not quite sure who the spare was that he jumped onto. This is Gonzalito, just shanks it ever so slightly and gives it back to Facundo. Facundo comes directly down that line. No one could do anything but watch. Here's Facundo now. Got the ball exactly where he wants it. Him and Decaux, just the two of them. Was that a touch away by Decaux, or was it shielded by another player? And it was Kavanagh that did that. Playing the ball full speed, smacking it out of the air. Perotto keeps possession, leaves it for Adolfo. Adolfo now. Adolfo takes pole position up at the front. Borodin going back to try and hunt him down and keep him out of the picture, but Cambiaso's in there and gets to it quick. Has he got the right angle? I think it's just a little bit too shallow of an angle to have redirected itself back in between the posts. And of course, at the end of these chukkers, the ground that you gain doesn't make a difference. We still got to play out the 30 seconds. Facundo, big lofted shot that comes down, plop. Oh, you know, he would have caught that bounce. He was prepared for the bounce, but it hit a divot and didn't bounce as high as I think it might have done if it had just hit a flat piece of ground. Kavanagh comes in and then just splinters it off the field. He's his 45th year, possibly even 46th. He's now got his 14-year-old son on the field, the most successful clone that he ever created. And of all the incredible plays today, he's really showing up the goods. We got lots of interesting new. I think Diego called to go back into the middle and leave it for Adolfo, which he does. Gently touches it to a standstill while Adolfo just ushers it over to the level. Quick flick of the wrist and a little wrist swing takes it out in front of Facundo while Diego takes care of Facundo, sees his sights, launches towards goal. There it is, right on target. Absolute perfect calibration from Adolfo Cambiaso, who started this chukker riding on Malaquita and made it past Facundo, who himself was on a Machitos horse, in fact. Open Lennox, I think that is. 6-4 to Next Generation. Facundo now headed back into the centre, just cuts inside, leaves the ball over to Gonzalito. Gonzalito tucks it under the neck to Facundo. Facundo looks up and stops himself. While I think a play occurred off the ball there. That must have been. I'm just going to have to seek the superior opinion of Jason Dixon, one of my first polo coaches. It must be known from up at Beaufort Polo Club. So this is moving up to a 3. It went to a 4. We're going to go for a 4, and then we'll go to 3. If there's any more chit chat, it's going to go to a yellow or red. Not afraid to use it in some of the most mitigating circumstances. There have been some challenging things for umpires here. Some rather reprehensible action in one of the other matches that was punished by the harshest means. 5 out of 8 players on the field here are using Ainsley saddles. So that foul off the play was for a double whip. We don't tolerate any of that. And then the whistle was blown before this penalty could even be taken by Facundo Pierres. So I think he's lining it up for another one. Again to be taken by Facundo. Goes right over Diego's head. Perfectly executed penalty. Takes it up to 5 against Next Generation 6. So The umpire counts to 20. The ball is dropped. Different opinions over this new thing, but so a lot of people relieved actually that it takes away the confusion and fouling opportunity of throw-ins. Nevertheless, back to the game. Gonzalito Perez here riding open Gonga. Gonza on Gonga. Cuts in to the right of Kavanagh. Thumps it in towards goal. That one ricochets off a defender. It tries it again from a steeper angle. This one hit away gently by Diego Kavanagh, but I think he ends up also watching it drift over the back line. And young Porotto is riding on Mamba, which was one of his father's. It's an American thoroughbred that won the best playing pony against Chocomola. Whilst Andre Borodin started this chucker on Tinvi Pecosa, which was also best playing pony against Chocomola. So that's pretty cute. Cambiasso from the back line now on Malaquita. It's a nice pass out to Kavanagh. Kavanagh's got enough space to shunt it to at least the halfway line. He takes a big shot, but under the shadow of Facundo Perez, anybody could be excused for fluffing that one, but he manages to resuscitate it. That's what he does. He's a hustler, and he won't let anything go for free. And here's where Adolfo leaves it for Porotto. Porotto out in front, tries to get it around the corner of Gonzalito Perez. He does that with a neck shot, met nicely by Decaux. Decaux doesn't catch the bounce, so it's up to Porotto to try and do that. That's exactly what he is, the bounce specialist, and he rounds it in, but just a little too late for him to make the goal count at the end of the field there. But that is absolutely what he is. He's a three-dimensional artist, this guy. It doesn't matter where it is, up in the air, behind his helmet, he's going to retrieve it. The instincts that he's developed from a lifetime in the saddle. Cambiasso starts with his stick down, then winds the full 360 to give it back out to Kavanagh. Kavanagh's going to try and stop, because if he keeps going, he'll get beaten to it by Facundo. He decides to put it under Facundo's belly. Breaking right on top of it was Cambiasso, then putting it out to the right is Facundo. Facundo stops dead and leaves every player on the field over on his non-stick side, which gives him a little bit of time to put it back to Gonzalito. Gonzalo Perez just shunting Adolfo out of the way, whilst Facundo slowly moves upfield. Tucks it over to the left where he's got a bit more running room. He's got an entire airstrip now, but waiting for him is Cambiasso, so he better release it quickly. Porotto goes back just in case he can get his electric mallet down to it before it goes through the post. But that shot was wide. We'll see that on the stats board a little bit later. Next Generation, just a little bit too much action on their back line we've seen. Up to Kavanagh. Kavanagh over the halfway line. Decaux goes up with Will Harper, young Will Harper riding on Mega Sexy. We'll tell you about her in a second. I think that's one of Facundo's actually. I recognise that name from the Open. This is Diego Kavanagh, pops it in right in front of goal. Just also a little bit too little, too short. Because as he's actually from Coochagarahan, it is one of Facundo's. Lovely, another Elastina bloodline. Beautiful dark bay mare. Leaning right into it against Facundo Perez is young Porotto. Oh no, it's not. This is not Harper. He's certainly not on that one. Well, that doesn't look like a dark bay mare to me. But someone who is on a dark bay mare is Gonzalito on Conga. I actually hope that it is called Gonga. I think that sounds a lot better. This is Porotto. Porotto in front of Harper. No foul blown. Porotto looking down. Just plays it with a little back heel to Adolfo. Adolfo letting that one settle. Just treads on it, which gives it back to Diego. Diego's there for reinforcements. Coming down that line is Borodin. Borodin runs down the tracks. Adolfo drawing the umpire's attention to to his mare. Which I think could have been that it stepped on it, or could have been the short collision that came through afterwards. It wasn't clear from either the replay or right here played out in the flesh. So I think Adolfo is going to get this one changed. Perotto and Jean-Francois. Just some quiet words of encouragement here from the sidelines. Adolfo sees his way back onto one that I think he's already played. I think that must be the Flo. Sorry, not Flo. Flo's a bay. Must be Libanesa. I know we've got the entire La Dolfina squad back in Argentina watching this now, with Marcos Villas-Boas, the legend that is the business manager for the La Dolfina organization. Gonzalito Pierres looking to play it right underneath Perotto, try and make him clear, gives it back to Facundo. Facundo plays it out to the right whilst Will Harper takes care of Kavanagh. This is Facundo now, plays it back, circles into the middle. Kavanagh's done the same kind of pirouette, but catching it with a beautiful wedge is the pass up to the front from Gonzalito. Decaux gets a touch to it. That ball looks like it's lingering around on the goal line. Not quite sure what happened to it there. Must have passed over the back line. Perotto plays it, has to surrender it to Facundo. Facundo moving back into the centre, very quickly changing directions. Look at that inch perfect pass from him. Precision play right up to the front to Will Harper. This could be Harper's moment to make the change of scoreline, and he does it clinically. The young Will Harper, off just the 3 goals, takes it up, puts in the equaliser for Park Place. I think the flag is waving. I'm hearing some shouting, but I think that's a goal. Nothing wrong with that. And it's right at the end of the 4th. It's exactly the way Park Place would have wanted to play it. But there's still an opportunity to run it through and make sure that they... well, the only thing that you can do with these new rules is get a goal. There's no ground that you can gain, so it doesn't matter. There's no point in just running up the pitch just to try and have the beginning of the next chukker a little bit further down. But you have got 30 seconds to put it through the flags, and that's exactly what Perotto intends on doing. Gives it up to Adolfo. Kavanagh leaves it standing still, but that still could just be that little bit too slow when you've got Cambiasso coming in at 60 mph behind him. So 6-6 is the score as we go off for half-time. So this will be taken by Gonzalito, who comes in on Ole. And he runs it, then leaves it for Facundo. Next Generation hit it right up to the front. Perotto isn't able to get that one, but Decaux does. Carries on playing it. Almost gets that second near side shot, but that's hit away by Facundo. And Facundo now launches the whale all the way up to the front. Will Harper's looking to get onto it, but coming back at speed is Perotto. Will Harper says, anything you can do, I can do it too. Puts it under the neck, but Perotto gets to the second one and hooks him before he can do any more damage. Diego Kavanagh just stumbles a little bit. Well, buried ball there, so I don't think you could blame him for that. And I was just looking up a little bit about Ole, the one that's been ridden by Gonzalo Pierres. It's an American-bred polo pony. That's all I got. whereas Facundo's on open easy. Open Easy Fly is its actual name. So we have one of the lesser spotted throw-ins that you might remember from ancient times, anti-COVID times. Steep neck shot by Pierres. Is that going through? Borodin chases after him. What a masterful play from Facundo Pierres. Look at this. Hooks Cambiasso out of the way. He's got Perotto on his left, and he just takes it. It wasn't a hard one, but it had the perfect direction, and Borodin chases it down, but looks on in dismay. And now they're up by 1 goal again, as they were at the very beginning of this match. Adolfo Cambiasso over to Kavanagh. Kavanagh spins it inside of Harper. Accelerating with Harper, can't catch it as he leaves it behind his cop. Harper able to make the most of that mistake. He's got Perotto over on the other side, and he's trying to avoid the hook from him. The little bit of help from Perotto gives Kavanagh a bit of light, and he sees the crack, squeezes through, and now he's hemmed in between Gonzalito and then Harper behind him. He's trying to get past Gonzalito. Gonzalito makes a nice, very first time accurate touch. That's nicely done by Harper. Harper's out there, sees Perotto on his right. Once again, the rivalry between the youngsters. Harper with quite a few years on Perotto, I have to say. This is Facundo, puts it forward. Diego comes down. Facundo puts his stick down to try and stop Diego from getting it. And now he's on his own. This is a dangerous place as Facundo making his way down the middle. Coming right across is Jean-Francois, which is a supermarket giveaway for Park Place now, right there in front of goal. And there's even murmurings of a 1. And so that'll be both the awarded goal and a penalty to the Blues from, I think, from the 5. Eight, 6. So as we move into halfway of the 5th, this is when Next Generation, particularly the Cambiasso clan, dig deep, reach into those turbo fuel cells and start to get that extra energy for the beast of a comeback that's on its way. Or is it Facundo? Also one of the masters, also one of the... Look at that! An air balloon right up to the other side of Berkshire. But not on target, so still just keeping Next Generation at bay, but not augmenting that score significantly at this point. Here's Cambiasso. Kavanagh. Next Generation pushes it on with Jean-Francois. Jean-Francois moving across court. Lovely white-faced mare that he's moving across into that corner. He's going to go for the radical neck shot, but that one wasn't timed quite right, and Gonzalito was able to pounce on it. If it wasn't for Kavanagh going in haunches first, amazing the way he manages to position himself whilst thrusting himself into a ride-off at the same time. Just a superb hustler of a player, this Diego Kavanagh. And man, started the crawl towards the Park Place goal, but I think there was a little impediment along the way. A little bit of obstruction by Facundo gives a pretty crucial penalty back to Next Gen. And Facundo, I think, can't quite see from here if it's a clip chestnut or not, but jumping on to open Cajera. So let's see which team at the end of this goes home to celebrate. Usually an asado is the way they do it, either a Quilmes or a Torta de Crema. Back at base at the stables with the lads. Here's Perotto running through, screaming through more like, on rails. He's coming through, he's got a beeline to goal. Borden comes in, puts a nice little handy little backhand into the play. But it's not, it is a blue shirt. It's Facundo that picks it up and takes it back out wide. Facundo slams it into the middle. Lovely rolling, just the right distance, but unfortunately Gonzalito couldn't get past Diego Kavanagh. Kavanagh puts it back in. This one's met by Perotto. Perotto keeping it out in front now. Perotto literally flying through the air on young Perotto on Chichira. This bay. Some help from Will Harper. Keeps Perotto away. Gives Facundo a chance to get back onto the field and get in control. He's able to stop, pivot round, look up. What are the options? Gonzalito's beside him. Decides to play it out to the side. That's where he was waiting. He could have done that blindfolded, the amount they played together, these two. Facundo takes the big one out, the wood, but then hits it all the way off the fairway. That's a golf analogy. Will Harper battling it away. This boy has played a lot of medium goal, but just the one tournament here at the high goal and playing with such confidence. Learned so much from senior players such as his father and of course Will Emerson, who spends a lot of time coaching youngsters like Tommy Seven, Charlie Cadogan, people like that. Young inexperienced players who are keen to learn. Gonzalito takes it. Oof, that was wide by a splinter. Literally a hair's breadth. Which gives it back to Next Generation. Sorely needed opportunity here. Perotto poking it forward. Right up the front to Jean-Francois. Gonzalito signals that that's his right of way, but Jean-Francois reads it right, comes in on the left, comes in to the left, plays it on the near side, keeps going. Jean-Francois in front of goal. This could be the goal of the tournament for him. Oh my goodness, what a goal that was. And that literally puts him up to almost potential MVP status. Look at that, on the near side. And once again, just sweeps it in with a nice open shot. And that was astonishing, fantastic play. Everyone will be chuffed after that. Gonzalito pushes it over to Facundo. So now Gonzalito's doing all the set plays from the back, which is interesting. Change of pace. I'm not sure why they felt they needed to change with that until recently two goal lead. But here's Cambiaso slowing right down. Waiting for the moment to pump it up to Perotto. Perotto's making a run for it. Will Harper's keeping up with him. And actually, wherever you see Perotto, Will Harper's there too. It might just be that the margins that Perotto's winning by, because some superb marking that he's doing. Opportunity denied for the second. Please re-enter code, says Park Place as they play the ball back out towards the boards. And just before the end, Adolfo Cambiaso has a shot at goal and can't quite convert that equaliser that they so need at this point in the game. One more chukker left. The ebullient and very cool Rodrigo Rueda, who's telling me about that white face of Jean-Francois, is Perotto is of Castor Ocampo. It's Jean-Francois' best mare, so he'll be looking forward to playing a few seasons on her. Rodrigo is, of course, played for La Bamba for many years, good friend of Jean-Francois, and is now the sub for the Thai polo team. Meanwhile, I digress. I'm going off on a tangent, talking about good times and buddies, but actually we're looking at Facundo being assailed by the young pretender that is Puroto. No, I think that was Diego, but in the replay, his hat looks grey, but it was actually Diego Kavanagh, the pretender to the throne, Puroto Cambiasso. This is Adolfo, straight up the middle. Will Harper looks over his shoulder. What's the option for him? Just a straightforward shooting backhander that goes over to Facundo, but it's met by Puroto. Puroto puts in a lovely angled neck shot, a bit like that goal of Facundo's, but it didn't end up with Diego. It was intercepted by Gonzalo, and then coming back once the ball had turned again, in comes Cambiasso Senior, and creates a new track here of his own. And I think was being followed there pretty faithfully. And so he'll be penalised for that with a penalty. And if you look at the penalty stats, they're both at 100%, both Next Gen and Park Place. Neither of them have missed a penalty. And it's just this sailing so close to the edge that oftentimes just wins you the play. But if you're 1 second out, you can end up giving away fatal penalties like this one. And it's the 9th on the board. It puts them up by 2 goals again. Park Place creeping ahead of the Next Gen. So Jean-Francois just thanking Park Place and the umpires for waiting for him while he made a quick change. And no time ticking while that was happening. This is Cambiasso. Look at him. That's so casual, like he was strolling into a bar and then quickly put his foot down on the pedal and outstripped Facundo. But Harper doing a good job of keeping him on the outside of the D. And here's Diego doing his own little bit of trickery, weaving in and out like Ricky Tiki Tavi, out towards the outside, but shadowed by Harper. Harper just stuck to him like Velcro, and then he gets the shot in backwards, and here's Harper, leans out in front. This could be Harper's moment. The ball's right out in front. Look at Cambiasso. Look at the reach on that. Cambiasso just managed to extend his arm by a foot and stop Harper from getting that, and how he did that was really surreal. This is Gonzalito. Gonzalito spins it back round. Gonzalito riding. A blank, as I didn't have that one. He's getting on what is recycling one from the earlier chuckers. Here's Adolfo at the back. Facundo stops it, but Diego had come back for a little bit of assistance. Now Facundo's trapped between the two, Diego and Adolfo. Now they've got to contend with Gonzalito. Diego takes the shot, tries to just force his way through the players on the near side. I think this is young Puroto. Cleared out of play is Will Harper again. Will Harper playing such a prominent role in this Park Place team. Facundo decides against that big swerve round with the neck shots and decides to cut inside. Just a quick little curl, puts him straight on track, hits it straight, hopes that Gonzalito's going to outstrip Facundo, but then Will comes in front, hits a long one, and Gonzalito's still going at full pace. Jean-Francois goes back to close the curtains before Gonzalito can get there, cuts it into the middle, but that's going to help Park Place if anything. So he's going to play the long and daring move across goal. Adolfo decides to put a stop to that, sweeps it out with a backhander, nice extended backhander, but that one's met by Will Harper. Will Harper now playing like Puroto, just juggling the ball on the end of his stick, and then he takes a swipe at it, and it just passed literally by a hair's breadth that left-hand post. But that play, look at Harper here, 1-2, little play, literally imitating Puroto. and doesn't quite get the goal. So let's find out who he's on. Young Will Harper, I think, is riding open Transnot Charter, so that sounds like another one of the boys. So I've got volumes and volumes of knowledge here from the ever so hard-working Ashlyn, who is literally the consummate 24-hour manager, only the best for Park Place patron Andre Borodin. Ashlyn is an incredible human being who puts in an unbelievable work rate and sent me 2 encyclopedias of the horse lineup for this team, and it's pretty impressive. It is almost exclusively, apart from a lot of Will Harpers that have a little bit of variety, exclusively Elastina. Elastina that, of course, provide over 100 horses to all the teams, all 8 teams in the Argentine Open. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. We've moved back onto the field. Next Generation are moving up square by square after a foul. I wonder if we're going to get another look at that one. We did. I missed it. And Harper, after having done such a brilliant play, now just blotted his copybooks by putting in a foul that moves Next Generation up to the 60. And I see Adolfo teeing it up, and I see him lining it up. So this might actually be his first penalty of the day. Diego's taken all the others. Oof, that's uncharacteristic. Diego tries to hit it on, and it's cleared. So he's absolved himself, young Harper, by hitting it away. This is Perotto. Look at him just getting round, literally like he's on rails in front of Facundo. Eventually, Facundo comes in, but and that's about coming round Facundo. What happens here? Facundo claims that he came across there in front of him. Oh, that would be the front end of Kavanagh, as Facundo had slotted in just behind Perotto. So when Perotto relinquished it, then he got caught up with Diego's front legs. So this will be a hit to the spot. 2 goals ahead, only 3 minutes remaining. Could you be more tense on ground 1 at this point in the tournament? We haven't even reached the quarterfinals yet, and we're already looking at an absolutely epic spectacle. So, Gonzalito. Out to Facundo. Nice wide play. Helps him try and get a shot in, but the way that suddenly Adolfo managed to move in at 90 degrees at the very last minute, that put Facundo, made him wrong-footed him, made him have to try a totally different tactic altogether out of his playbook. But believe me, he's got plenty. Moving out in front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Decides not to play that game. Now is not the time for YouTube clips. Keeps it down, and while it's down, he makes the play for goal, right there in front of goal. Hard to see from this angle, but trying to clear it just before it goes through. I think was Adolfo. I don't know what that do. Don't know if that came off the post, but it certainly spun out of play. What's happens here? Facundo makes the shot, and then in comes Adolfo, and I think hits it. What I think he was trying to do was get to it just in front of that goalpost and hit it away, and then it was the cushions on the post that made his stick flick out, and that might be and that's why it ended up being a safety 60. And one of the bizarre things about having this game played behind closed doors is that you can hear very clearly what's happening on the field. And I was listening to the Manchester-Copenhagen game just before this, and you could hear the players talking to each other in the stadium, which is almost unknown, given the quantities of spectators that they have at those kind of games. But here, it's echoing across this voluminous field. This is Facundo Perez. He launches it, it's low and dangerous, almost decapitated them. I think that Adolfo tried to get away with a helicopter swing, but he didn't manage to do that, and Facundo converts it, and it's another 100% perfect penalty taking for him that keeps him. We're up in the top 3 on the leaderboard. That takes them up to 10. That means that Next Generation may have to play a match in the quarters, and Park Place may not. They'll go straight through to the semis the way that this is laid out. This is up to Poroto. Poroto catches the bounce nicely. Can Poroto do anything to resuscitate their chances at this junction? This is Poroto just leaning out in front of Will Harper, doing his best to catch just the handle or any part of Poroto that he can. Leaning down, Diego Kavanagh lets it drop in behind Will Harper so that Adolfo can have a go. But actually still manages to keep it going. Here's Adolfo right in front of goal. The ball just teasing them as it manages to somehow fluff its way through. Not the most elegant of circumstances. Here's Kavanagh. He stops, lets it catch up with him. Adolfo does the same. Kavanagh's in behind him. Will Harper gets a touch to it. So does Gonzalito, but it catches both their legs and then spins out around the back of the post, putting it up to 8. So how many minutes on the board? 1 minute left. Park Place to do the hit out. It's still going to be difficult, even for the magic that Cambiasso manages to pull out the bag. Next Gen send Jean-Francois up to Facundo. He's lost another mallet head. What's he going to do at this point? This is Jean-Francois playing it backwards. Look at Facundo. He's trying to hit it with the other end with the handle of his stick, but even that won't do it at this point. This is Poroto leaning out. If there's an opportunity to do it, it's when Facundo hasn't got a stick. He doesn't have time to change. He's trying to play it with the handle now, but Poroto's still got it, and they haven't caught him yet. He's going out wide. Inside is Gonzalito to keep him out by the boards and stop him from doing anything too dangerous. At this point, he manages to steal round him, and now it's just a run to get past the mallet-less Facundo, and he got it in towards goal, and this is Diego Kavanagh trying to follow it up. Diego in front of goal. It's 9 on the board. There's seconds left before the end of this, the 6th chukker, but it's too late and too little, and even the magic of Poroto with Kavanagh in assistance and the opportunity left by Facundo having lost the mallet head didn't leave the space open. So, as far as I can read it, and umpire Jason Dixon will correct me if I'm wrong, that means that Park Place are at the top of this League A. That leaves on number 1. Number 2 will put Next Generation, and number 3 is Monterosso, having knocked out Segavas earlier on. So that means that Next Generation will have to play whoever comes 3rd in League B, or the other league, which we have yet to find out. We'll find out tomorrow, and then we are through to the ominously named knockout stages. That looked like a hard game. Was it as hard as it looked?
Yes, definitely. It's always hard against this team, and I think also the weather, was very hot, so that didn't help. But yeah, I think it was a great game. It was fun to play. I imagine it was fun to watch also.
But apart from the Gold Cup, have you had much experience of playing against that father and son combo? Because it works pretty well. Adolfo at the back, Poroto running for everything.
Yeah, we played in the Gold Cup. We played in Argentina. I think it was San Jorge and Jockey Club. They played together and we played against them.
He must be a different player now.
I think he changed by week or by day.
Yeah.
No, definitely a great player and a lot of future.
But you're straight through to the semis. Is that for you? Is that a good thing? Less games, or do you sometimes like to?
No. Of course, at this stage of the season, I think it's good to rest a little bit because, the horses they've been since March we started, so it's been a very long season for them. So yeah, I think it's every chance you have to save a little bit the horses is great, and so this is a chance. So
talking of horses, Twitter went pretty. You pulled out Twitter a couple of
Yes.
times, the famous Twitter, and right away you having a great few minutes on.
Yeah, I mean she's great. I have a lot of confidence in her. That's why I play her in the second checker for, I think she was 3 minutes and a half, 4, and then I play her the last 2 minutes of the game, and I feel very comfortable on her finishing the games in the last checker. And
So she comes on as your as spare in the last.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but basically because she makes you do everything, she helps you, and,
Right.
and she's always, when you need her to turn, she turns. When you need her to run, she runs. When you need her to stop, she stops.
Right.
She's a very solid mare, and it's great to finish the games with her.
And all of them, I mean, everyone knows you have a type, very specific, but all of you've got 100% penalty rate. And I think you might have changed off this goal. You might be lead scorer or something, but all of your penalties are nice and easy on all of them.
I haven't missed one.
No, not yet.
That's good. Yeah, I practice. I started to practice after I think by the middle of the Gold Cup, and I practice once per week. I practice a lot, and that helps me, and it gives me a little bit of timing. But sometimes you go to the games and you're hitting the ball well and you miss it. So
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit of luck sometimes.
Right.
You know, today I have a couple of goals that went in, but they could have stopped it. Or
Yep.
So I think it's a matter of a little bit of luck.
And there was one point when you were 2 goals ahead, I think in the fourth, you just switched things up a little bit on the set plays, because you were taking all of the set plays from the back, and then you switched it up. You had Gonza taking some. Is that I mean, is that something you change whether you're ahead or behind? You just switch it up anyway?
I think we would have done it anyway. We like to change. We like to switch, and if not, I'm always hitting the ball to Gonza, and the other teams we make it a little bit easy for them. But if we switch a little bit, and I don't know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Today I think it worked because we got a little bit better. But it depends on the games and who we are playing and
Right.
everything.
So that's a big question now, because tomorrow is still wide open. You still got any of those 3 that could go through. I mean,
4 teams, no?
Well, sure. It's open to all 4.
I think 4 teams have a chance, no? To
Okay, all 4 teams. We'll cut that.
I think Scone, Le Leon,
and then
Taipola,
and Vara, Taipola.
and Monterroso Vikings. They all 4 have chance of going through. So
okay.
one of those 4 is gonna be out, but I don't know how. I mean, it will probably depend on who wins and who loses. But I have no idea.
Okay, so maybe that's the best way to not to over focus.
Of course, now we gotta just sit and wait. Whoever we're gonna play in the semi-finals is gonna be tough.
Right.
So we gotta forget about who we play, and we have to prepare. We have a good week to prepare and get the horses ready. We are ready, so just a matter of concentrate and be 100% on the semi-finals.
Well, amazing, well done. It looked like all your horses went amazingly, not just Twitter.
Thank you.
So congratulations on that, and good luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thank you very much. Thank you.